You should be able to share your screen.
So
Yeah.
it's okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I'm Fouad Fakiri. I'm engineer and I'm inventor. I'm from Morocco, in north of Africa. So I'm sorry in the first for my bad English, because in our country, our second language is French, not English. But I'm preparing my presentation with the English language. In the first, I'm delighted and honored to be part of this event. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Hanadi Al-Mubaraki for her tireless efforts and her passionate commitment to organizing this event, as well as the previous ones. I would also like to thank the entire technical staff who ensure the smooth running of this Congress. Before presenting my innovative project, it is important to reflect on some recent events that have marked significant milestones in my journey throughout the year 2024. In February 2024, I had the honor of receiving a gold medal at the Kuwait International Invention Exhibition organized by the Kuwaiti Scientific Club during its 14th edition. On this occasion, I would like to thank organizers of this prestigious event, as well as the entire Kuwaiti people. Thanks for this gold medal, I was able to rekindle my ambition and gain new perspectives. The victory in Kuwait motivated me to participate in Geneva International Invention Exhibition in April 2024, where I also won a gold medal. In May 2024, I participated in the Tokyo International Exhibition World Genius Convention, where I was honored with the gold medal and grand prize of competition. This greatly increased the visibility of my project and generated significant media coverage both in my country and in some foreign media outlets. Finally, my latest participation at the Adana International Invention Exhibition in Turkey last October was crowned with a gold medal and the Best Academic Award. The core of this success was born in Kuwait. My next international participation will be in Seoul, South Korea, from November 27 to 30. In summary, for international participation and for success. As for my project, it is an invention protected by a patent issued by my country on November 30, 2023. It is a device for the production of green electric and sustainable electric energy, falling within the scope of renewable energy. So I will be present you a video about my innovation. There is four minutes, just for 4 minutes, to give you an idea, because video, I can explain with my video good idea about my project, and we will be continued. Okay. 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 Let's say this marriage. Say something. So the energy production of my device is superior that of solar and wind energy in terms of efficiency and profitability. This technology could contribute to the economic development of countries and the positive improvement in the environment. The production of green energy through this technology is achieved by transforming the potential of gravity and strong magnetic energy. The theoretical phases have been validated and surpassed, and we are currently working on creating the first prototypes. The industrial designs and blueprints are the final stage of completion. The widespread implementation of this technology will provide easy access to electric energy and contribute to the economic development of humanity. The detailed presentation of my invention contains many technical aspects, but due to time and circumstances, I'm unable to go into further technical details. Artificial intelligence, in particular, has the potential to revolutionize the management of this technology. Finally, I would like to thank all of you for your attention, and especially Dr. Hanadi Al-Mubaraki for giving me the opportunity to present my innovative project with the hope of returning to Kuwait to participate in the 15th edition of the Kuwait International Invention Exhibition. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, very interesting. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
So in the first, I don't speak good English, so my presentation I have present and writing my presentation, so I can't good speak the language English.
Professor Mike, sorry about that for interrupting you. Professor Fuad Faqiri, her origin language is
Morocco.
French. Yes, it's Morocco, but they speaking French, and he speak only English for our conference. And he told me, please decline me from any discussion because I'm unable to answer. Then just so shy.
Can I just ask?
If you have some questions, you can write me. You can write me, and I will be answer to you by writing.
Okay. Could I just ask something relatively simple? So it appears to me that there are magnets used kind of to get things started. And basically, it's gravity. It's gravity that's
Yes,
providing.
yes. This is two forces. We have two free forces in the natural. Two free forces. Gravity is free forces, and magnetism is free forces. Gravity is will the up to the down, and magnetism down to the up. And we can because I don't know if you have a physical man, if you know the principle of Newton, the sum of forces equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. So
gravity,
if we have forces,
mass
yes,
multiplied by gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity
He's speaking about the equation, Professor Mike.
Yeah. So I mean, this to me seems really groundbreaking because, as you say, there's in nature, there are magnetic fields and obviously there's gravity. And if you can harness those two things and create energy out of it, I think this can be groundbreaking. So my second question is, how scalable is this? In other words, how large can you make these things? Would they ever be large enough to be able to provide significant power to, a town or a city or something?
It's a good question. We can have a lot of sizes. As we have in our example in the video, we have 10 stages, 10 level. So we can have more. This is an example. If you can see in the screen, we have a model 1 to model 6. We have 6 models. Model 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in this model, we have a number of floors and array or the meter. Array, we have 1 meter, 1.5, 2 meter, 3, 4, 5. This is the radius, because if we have a large radius and a lot of floor, we have to make a big magnets. The big magnets, it's proportional. If you have the big magnets, we have big forces. And gravity is constant gravity, G equal to 10. 10, it's universal in the earth is 10, gravity is 5. But if you have a lot of stage and a lot of big dimension, we have to make a big magnet. So we have to know, this is the example for our models. Daily energy on kilowatt per hour and monthly energy on kilowatt per hour by models. We have 6 models, for example, and we can produce a green electric energy because we have 2 forces in the nature, the forces. We have one force is not sufficient to produce electricity. We have to mix it, 2 forces, and the equation of Newton, sum of forces equal to mass by acceleration. And so we have 2 forces and we have mass. And so the result is acceleration. Acceleration is a derivative of velocity. So if we have velocity and masses, we have work. And if we have work on the time equal to energy. So I have a patent for my project, and I have 4 this is my patent. And I have 4 international participation in the world, and I have 4 gold medals in the world in all of my participation. In the first, I participate in Kuwait. My second participation is in Geneva, Switzerland. My third participation is in Japan, Tokyo, and my fourth participation is in Adana, in Turkey, in Turkey. After two weeks, I will participate in Seoul in Korea, and this is a title of my project, and I have these prizes, and I'm motivating. I don't know if I'm explaining the word good.
That's good. Let me just add something. These look like they're relatively inexpensive to build. Is that wrong?
No, because our efficiency, the result is important, because with gravity we can work in our device 22 hours per day. Like solar, we can provide in solar energy 3 or 4 hours per day, and wind energy maybe 3-4 hours per week. So we have the big device, but we don't have results. With my project, we produce 22 hours per 24. So why this question? Because 2 hours we have to change small device and to intervention, because this is motors we can calm it and stop it for maintenance.
I see. So there's a couple hours a day will require a trained person to be able to provide adequate maintenance to keep this going constantly.
Yes. In the finally, our device is more than solar and wind energy, 2-3 times more.
Excellent.
For productivity.
Excellent. I'm just wondering, have you formed a company and you're going to sell these, or you try to sell the idea to a larger company?
So actually, we're working about the first prototype. We have validation. I have my validation, my patent recently, just one year recently, and I'm searching now the sponsors to make a second stage. So actually, we are work. I have my staff. I have my staff, engineers, the colleagues, to make a prototype. There is a lot of drawing, a lot of design, a lot of calculus. We are actually we are in the last time in this step.
Gotcha.
So in the after we have to search or investor, because produce the first prototype, we need a lot of money, like first prototype for cars or all of machines. Then my device in the finale is a machine, so we have to make a very, very good project with zero error.
Right.
So we have to find a serious industrial company to make a first prototype.
I think this is really, as I said, groundbreaking, and I don't think you're going to have any trouble acquiring capital in whatever form you decide to do it. And I could see this becoming extremely successful, especially in some of the third world countries where they have trouble generating any kind of electricity. I think this could be marvelous for them. So I certainly wish you all the luck in the world with this. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to present this. It's very informative, everybody here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, Hanadi, is Ed Morrison here?
I do my best to contact him. He will be on time. He didn't apologize about unjoining, but I don't know.
he did send
you
a message about an hour ago that said he was here, and he asked the question, is there a Zoom link? And I just replied, just sign on here and you can share your
He's
screen.
asking you about Zoom link.
Yeah. Well, he was already here, so I'm assuming he had the link to get into the conference. But I say that was about an hour ago, and I don't see him here now.
I don't know. Technical support. Is Professor Edward Morris there? Maybe in the other room.
Just a minute, I'm checking.
Edward Morris. But the presenter make their presentation a little bit quickly. They have half an hour.
Yeah, so it's there's about 35 minutes left in this session, so if he wants the whole half hour, he's fine with it. We just have to find him.
Professor Peter, based on your experiences about the future of innovation or technovation and AI, what is for the next decade? What is your recommendation or what is your vision for the next decade?
Well, that looks
Specifically, you are from the base of innovation in the Cambridge or in the United Kingdom.
Well, I mean, there's so many dimensions to that, Handy. I mean, I think we see, as we emphasized earlier, the importance of thinking about how ecosystems develop to maximize the amount of interaction that can occur between the traditional knowledge centers and, of course, business. We're always here on a continual journey to try and improve that, but I think one of the biggest things that's beginning to really impact now is the way artificial intelligence is beginning to change the way that most of the boundaries are interacting and how people are beginning to do things. I think it would be good to get colleagues' views on quite how we even understand and begin to model it. I mean, even every week now, it seems to be the case that some aspect of AI is revolutionizing the interactions and the way people are working together. So I think it's very difficult for us to understand quite what it means for particularly the geography of where people do things. Obviously, we're observing that if we're looking at the development of high technology, we do see it very concentrated in certain places. And it's interesting to ask to what degree the geography will be affected by these new technology developments. I don't know. It'd be good to get other colleagues' views, like Mike's view on this. I think really, though, the emergence of AI seems to be occurring so quickly now and being in its adoption phase that it's very difficult to predict what it's going to mean for businesses and then the spatial consequences, which is what we're interested in.
There is a question here, Dr. Fakari, and I know you didn't want too many more questions, but somebody was wondering how these units would fare out in the weather and maybe severe weather conditions. So would they be able to hold up there?
Professor Fuad? He closing the Professor Fuad. Can you open your mic?
Yeah,
it's okay.
Somebody was just asking a question in the chat. They were wondering how these units would fare in extreme weather. Extreme heat in some places and maybe extreme cold in other. Would they be durable? Would they be able to hold up in the weather?
You ask me?
Yes.
Yes, yes. This is a question for you from the audience. They ask Professor Mike to ask you about the weather. Repeat the question. I don't know. What is the question, Professor Mike?
So his exact words were, how robust is the equipment? It seems like it has to be finely tuned. So how will that be able to hold up under some extreme weather, like freezing or heat?
They're asking about the type of weather to use your robotic. What type of weather? I mean, if it's freezing or if it's hot or what type of
ممكن
summer,
تساعديني
winter?
دكتورة ممكن تديني إشارات بيني وبينك نستسمح من الإخوان؟
إيه
أنا ما
إيه
فهمت
إيه
السؤال.
إيه إيه إن شاء الله إن شاء
You ask me about condition for using my device.
That's correct.
exactly.
If there is condition, for example, wind energy or sun energy, we have some condition to provide about this
Yes.
energy. But in my project, there is not condition because we have gravity anywhere in the world. We have gravity. We can use our device, our technology in the up, in the down, in the build, in the free sky, in the island, in the north of the earth, in the south of the earth, anywhere, because my project, the energy of gravity. This is of advantage of my project. And just one condition, because the magnets, we can't use the magnets in the temperature superior of 80 degrees. 80 degrees, our magnets we can't is operated. This is only condition. Gravity, we have gravity anywhere in the earth, and
Okay,
this
good.
is a big advantage for my project. And we have the communication, the transport of energy is deleted. We have not to transport energy. We have not to transport energy because in the wind and sun energy, we have to make this device where we have the condition, like one big project in Germany. The wind energy in Germany is in the north, but the big industry in the Germany is in the south. So we have to inject $6 billion to transport energy the north to the south. So if this is my project, if this is my device, we have to make my device near the industry in the south, and you have to economic $6 billion just about transport of electricity. This is a big example in the world.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Hanadi, were we able to locate Ed Morrison?
Excuse me?
Were we able, I was asking Hanadi if we could locate the next speaker.
Yes, we will make open discussion. Professor Naz is there. You are there, Professor Mike. I don't know. I sent for it email, chatting, and I sent the link, but it's no response. I don't know.
Okay, so
If any from the audience here or presenter want to make any discussions or asking questions. In fact, it's not this questions, it's only open discussion between both of us. Professor Naz, what is your opinion about the three presentation? Professor Peter, Professor Fuad, and Professor and Professor Mu'min. We need your participation. We
here we go,
need the
Naz.
time. It's passing.
It's so fascinating. I wasn't expecting this question to be asked to me.
They did it to
What
me
shall we
yesterday.
do? What shall we do? It is disappear. Actually, it is a very, it's very professional professor, and he is joining every year. This is the 5th year, and their communication is very low. Just he said, yes, I participate. Yes, give me the link, and this is ending. But now I don't know where is his, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Then we have little time for open discussion between all of us. Yes, Professor Mike, shooting anything.
Everything is new to me. So I have so many questions. I'm learning here. It's not mainly the area that I teach about. So I am like a student here.
No problem. We will share our experience and knowledge and sharing with you, making some clarification.
Yeah, so basically what we're talking about here is we had one method of generating energy that looks to be just as efficient and maybe have less problems than the other renewable sources, that is solar and wind, etc. His used only gravity, I guess, or a magnet to kind of pull this little car or whatever it was up, and then just let gravity carry it down, and the act of going down will create energy, and then you take it back up again using magnets, and then dropping it down again using gravity. He was able to patent this process, and he's shown it in at least 4 or 5 different countries. You know, if I was a venture capitalist, this is one invention that I would go to. It's one that looks like it's fairly easy to operate. I know there's a lot of science behind it, but it can go into a lot of places where generating other kinds of energy may be difficult. So I think this could, as I said before, it can be groundbreaking, a really interesting and useful invention. The other speakers were talking about entrepreneurs. So if Dr. Fakari, for instance, took this and went to in Cambridge, where they've set up these campuses, he would be perhaps one of the companies that would thrive in a situation like that. As the next step, you know, an entrepreneur to go from developing a product, and he's just about to the prototype stage, I believe. Once you get to the prototype stage, typically then you decide how you're going to commercialize the product. You can go it alone and try to raise capital, form a company to do this, raise capital. The venture capital partners usually take a big chunk of the equity because it's a lot of risk on their part. But then using venture capital, you can take this project and I don't know if you want to set it up in some countries first to get it to work. You know, once you have the first system kind of working, it becomes easier to sell some of the other ones and say, here, I've done this before. It does work. It is providing energy, and it's done on a cost-effective basis. The venture capitalists, you know, they're just concerned about numbers. You know, how much of an investment will you need to do this? How long before I see a substantial return? And venture capitalists are looking for very substantial returns, and that's why they end up taking they can take 40 or 50% equity to provide the capital that's needed. Some of the entrepreneurs that I've talked with in the past have a problem with that. You know, I brought investors to them. They have a process started, and I said, look, you're going to need X number of dollars to do this. I have an investor that'll be willing to invest that much. And they say, oh, great, that's good. And the investor maybe has some knowledge to help the entrepreneur, either in the manufacturing or the marketing or something. And I say to them, okay, we have all the money, you'll be able to commercialize this. They want 40% of the ownership. And the entrepreneurs, this happened to me 5 times. The entrepreneurs turn around and say, I'm not giving up 40% of the ownership. And then they lose the deal, and I don't know what happens to them after that. I try to convince them that 60% of a big pie is a lot more than 100% of a smaller pie. Some of them just don't get it. Just don't get it. They just say, I don't want to give away this much ownership.
I wanted to ask Mike whether or not any research had been done into the potential markets for the device. I don't know if there's anybody to answer that. What is the marketing plan for?
So Dr. Ficcari is asking, once you get the prototype done, have you worked on a marketing plan? So how you plan to get the product into the hands of the end users?
I think we are all cornering Dr. Ficcari. He already mentioned that he's not comfortable with English. I cannot, we cannot understand. Unfortunately, we are not good at all.
No?
So,
Yes, of course. But I understand 10%. So I am. So there is not problem for me. I can understand.
Okay.
About business plan, we are working now about our first prototype. My business plan is prototype, because if we make and we work prototype and produce the first green electric energy with our technology, this is my business plan. This is my business, because the energy, all of the world need energy. Environment need energy, sustainable energy. This is my business plan. So I don't know. I can't speak with other language. I think that my first prototype, physical prototype, is my business plan.
Michael, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Surely.
Yes?
Yes.
My question will be to Professor Caselli and Professor Tyler. You're at University of Cambridge, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And what you're implementing at an institution, we are from Stockton University, South Jersey, with Professor Bosler. Sometimes things go slowly at these institutions, obviously. From the starting of the initiative that you have in place, was it the top to bottom, or was it coming from the bottom to the higher up and suggesting to the upper level? I don't know if that makes sense, but that may change the dynamics and the timeline of from starting, putting together, and to the implementation of any initiative, obviously. I'm just curious about that. If we meant to get into something like this, like it's challenging. So I want to get your insights on that, if it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Giorgio will have some comments as well, but I think, as I mentioned, the very early stages of Cambridge was very much these sorts of companies where, scientists and engineers were coming up with ideas, and the businesses were very much prototype businesses, making certain on developing the research and development so it could be developed a proof of concept. So, I mean, Cambridge 40 years ago or thereabouts was very much those sorts of companies that were very much building out of the science base, beginning to get to early stage thinking about how it might move into a market position. There's still quite a lot of that because academic spin-outs, and I don't quite understand how this research has, whether it's come out from a university or whatever, but I think academic spin-outs remain a very important part of certainly the British experience. But what is happening, as we mentioned in more recent years, is you get the arrival of big companies, big multinational companies, who of course have very large research and development budgets, and they are seeking to develop their ideas using scientists and or engineers within the ecosystem. But I think the sort of design concept we've heard about this afternoon would be very, I think, very much an example of the way in which early Cambridge began. And as Mike's mentioned, the things that's improved a lot is the ability to get mentors and people who can advise and work alongside these sorts of new ideas and these bright ideas and scientific developments and take them forward into early stage development. We've seen that companies need a lot of help in that early stage. And I think, Giorgio, therefore, we think that the system here has begun to really put in first-class resources to develop that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you explained it really well. And I think you, Mike, explained very well the process of the central role of venture capital played within this. The only additional comment I will make, so Pete and I, when we talk about the history of the Cambridge phenomenon, we talk about a process of creative chaos. So we talk about chaos that in a way was channeled in the right way, in the right direction. And we identify the key elements that basically made it possible for a cluster to develop in a place like Cambridge out of this creative chaos. And one of them was indeed the role of finance, and within it, especially venture capital, the role of, as you mentioned before, Mike, people, connections, collaborations, and ultimately great ideas like the great idea that Fuad has had. So I think he will be an excellent example of a potentially very successful entrepreneur in Cambridge. Then I could go on forever in terms of the key elements. But I think this idea of, as Pete explained really well, of basically not so much a planned process. So back to your question, Naz, it wasn't at all a top-down approach. Many of the things we have seen in Cambridge and that we still see nowadays are very much bottom-up, made possible through collaborations and people coming together. And hopefully Pete and I could explain clearly the role that this partnership between the public and the private sectors has had in Cambridge. So it's very much a bottom-up approach with a bit of top-down, but not too much, I would say.
One of the really good developments is the emergence of these accelerator type activities, whereby you can get within the campuses, you can get bespoke facilities that enable individuals with a good idea to get guidance from a number of people who, and that's where the concentration is important. So we call them accelerators because new ideas can be driven forward and the conditions can be right to allow them to, the entrepreneurs to access quite a lot of services, which can be quite expensive for early startup companies, particularly in life science. It would be cryoscience facilities and other things, but it could be very expensive equipment like X-ray equipment or whatever, whereby individual small companies starting up can't afford that themselves, but within the overall complex that is developed, they can get access to those things. So when we talked about life sciences at Babraham, for instance, one of its strong assets is that it has facilities that small companies can use and just buy parts of or just access, without having to pay for the equipment directly themselves. So accelerators are quite important in this process to take people with great ideas and allow them to get access to mentors, people who can help them develop the product into a market realizable opportunity. And then, as Giorgio's mentioned, the other important thing is access to finance. So getting people who are prepared to put money into the things is obviously very difficult. And it's taken many years in Cambridge for the venture capitalists to begin to be here more actively. And so it is with all these centres.
If Dr. Ficcari lived in England and he came to you, would you be able to help him with developing a business plan? With all due respect, I'm sure he sounds like a brilliant scientist, but as you know, there's more to a business plan than actually having the product. Would you be able to help him with the business plan?
Well, there would be. I mean, we're not engineers, Giorgio and I, but there would be places where obviously the engineering establishments would be able to suggest, routes and ways and pathways by which ideas like this could be developed. I mean, it requires quite a lot of. I think this, from what we've seen briefly here, it does require quite a lot of understanding of the technology and how it fits into the relevant market segment that is developing. But I'd like to think that these sorts of advice and access is beginning to become more available for people with such good ideas.
There's one thing that he said I got a little nervous about. He said he does have a patent on his product in his country. And I'm not a patent lawyer, but if he goes to other countries, do those patents still apply, or do you have to get a patent in each of the countries, or is it an international patent?
Well, again, it depends on the geography, the protection that's applied for. Different countries have different regimes. It is quite expensive to get more global patenting, I think.
Yes.
But, so I would suspect that it depends on different countries.
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I say, I think what he's proposed here, and from what I've seen, there just seems like there's so much application for it worldwide. And I think once he gets that prototype going, and I think develop a business plan and show it to some venture capitalists. Now, you're right, venture capitalists are extremely selective in the products that they take. The last time I looked at some figures, most of the venture capitalists only invest in less than 5% of the opportunities that are brought to them. So they're very selective, but they look for the ones where my friends who are in venture capital, they always say, we're looking for the home runs, the ones we can take something small and really make it big and become something that's very, very profitable. All good. All good. Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck, and I hope in a year or two I hear from you and this has gone global and it's shaking up the world of energy production, because it certainly seems to check all the boxes here. It's clean energy. There's scientific knowledge needed to build the prototype. I understand that, but it's clean energy, and it's something that can be built, I think, virtually anywhere in the world. And as long as you can scale these things, I think your slide said some of these are 30 stories high, so they can be built quite large, and I guess that's going to supply a significant amount of energy.
The big device.
Yeah, you gave all those
You can-
kilowatts, and I'm not familiar with all
Yes.
that means, but it sounds like it can provide a lot of energy, maybe to a small town even, or contribute to big cities. Yeah, I think
Yes.
you could be on the verge of something really big here.
Thank you,
I hope
sir.
you become extremely successful with it.
Good luck with it all. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
good.
Thank
right,
you of all.
Anybody else? We're down to about 6 minutes left before the next session starts. And Petter is here. He's, I think, the chair of the next session. Let's get my thing here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Petter's the chair. Another Stockton professor and a colleague of Naz's and mine. So we're glad to see Petter here.
6 minutes. Michael, I have another question, but it's going to be on. I think we are done with this session that you chaired. It was
In
great.
5 minutes,
But
Petter takes over.
5 minutes to be
Yeah.
specific. I have a question about yesterday's session. You were mentioning the AI.
Yeah.
Just a couple of minutes. What was the most significant element out of that? Because we are all interested in it. Obviously, AI is everywhere.
I'll
What
tell you, what
was?
got me was some of the applications that you would just never think of. One of the presenters said, we're working on a system that'll make a whole office building or a whole condominium high-rise building a smart building. And just by managing it properly, yeah, I don't recall what all the numbers were, but
yesterday.
by managing those things properly, there was significant reductions in cost. They started to mention some other things and just some things you wouldn't think of. So I think the application of artificial intelligence, I think we're just kind of at the tip of the iceberg here. And as this comes in, I think it will become much more productive. And I think also what I got out of it, there's also a fear that if all this artificial intelligence comes in, people are going to lose their jobs, you're going to get high unemployment. I didn't get that out of this. What I got was workers will be able to become more productive using the AI and produce more output, and that will add growth. So there'll be different kinds of jobs, but I still think there'll be plenty of jobs created. Every time the economy seems to go through some of these changes, people are always worried about jobs. I remember when I first started teaching many years ago on the highways, the pay, you had to stop and you had to hand the money to a toll taker. And then someone was coming out with, well, you just have this basket, you can just throw the change in there. And people say, well, you're going to do away with all the toll takers' jobs. And that's true. But I said it will allow the toll takers to get jobs that are a little more productive. And just as that was being worked out, we have now this Easy Pass system. You put a thing on your windshield and you can drive anywhere. So you really don't need or need very, very little labor involved. So the technology does replace some labor, but it does open up some other areas. I tell my students, if you want to be well prepared for the future, the idea is to be as educated as possible, so that when some of these lower skill jobs go away, that's not you have more education and more critical thinking skills, and you'll be able to utilize some of the new technology more effectively. So I'm never worried personally about technology coming in. I think it just, while there may be some structural unemployment problems, it does lead to growth. And as you add growth, that leads to a higher standard of living for the population. I think that's kind of what we're aiming for.
Yes, thank you for your insights. I agree with you 100%. That's so true.
So with that, we're just about for the next session, which we're going to turn over to Dr. Petr Dobrov, also from Stockton University. He's here today, and there are 3 papers, I believe, in your session, and then a round table afterward. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'll stay around for a while, but I have another meeting myself in an hour. So I'm going to say goodbye and let my colleague Petter take over.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks all.
Great, thanks,
Thanks,
Professor
everybody.
Michael.
Thank you, everybody.
Great, thanks,
Thank you for the
Professor
presentations,
Mike.
too. Very knowledgeable. And I always like to gain new knowledge when I go to these conferences and hear these presentations, and I gained a whole lot out of this one. So
Thank you so
very
much, Professor Mike. Thank you for so much for all the presenter for great discussion and a great presentation. Thanks, Professor Nas. You will be with us till end.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, thank you.
شكرا جزيلا دكتورة نادي.
حياك الله، حياك الله، شكرا.